Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for first edition of CANTO Conversations 2024. Those of you who have been with us for the past couple of years will notice that we have rebranded and redesigned the conversation just a little bit to encourage more active participation by you, the audience. So in this conversation, you'll get an opportunity to ask your questions directly to the presenters. In today's digital age, the consumption of video content has skyrocketed, with users demanding seamless, high-quality streaming experiences every time, anywhere. Leveraging cloud technology has then become an increasingly essential for content providers seeking to meet these evolving demands efficiently and effectively. Broadpeak has been a proud member of CANTO and has been at the forefront in the design and manufacture of video delivery products and services for content providers and network service providers. Our distinguished speakers this morning, Mr. Arnault Lannuzel and Mr. Mathias Guille from Broadpeak, will share their expertise and insights from their various years of experience in this field. It is with great pleasure I now hand you over to Arnault, who will lead the discussions with Mathias and uncover some keys to unlocking the full potential of your cloud-based video solutions. Over to you, Lannuzel.
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa, for the introduction. Hi, everybody. Good morning to all. We very much appreciate the opportunity to share some ideas and piece of advice with our audience on the monetization of OTT platforms today. And to guide us in this interesting webinar, I'm glad to welcome Mathias Guille, VP Cloud Platform at Broadpeak, where he spent almost 12 years in different technical positions after spending 3 years at SFR, the second telco operators, where he was capacity planning manager. Hi, Mathias. Glad to have you with us today. Where do you join us from?
Hello, Arnaud, and good morning also to Teresa and to the entire CANTO community. So typically, home is in Indianapolis in the US. But to connect a bit more with our audience today, I'm joining from Florida. I'm actually in vacation with my kids, but it's the first time my second kid is seeing the ocean and is super excited about it. But I'm very happy to be with you this morning. It's great to be closer to the vibrant Caribbean region.
Definitely. I mean, Florida is a nice place. So tell us more. What are you doing at Broadpeak today? We know you are the VP Cloud Platform, but can you tell us more about your team, about what the team is doing today?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm the VP Cloud Platform at Broadpeak. If you look at Broadpeak, we are actually developing technologies for video service providers, operators, broadcasters. And my team in particular, we are in charge of developing our offering in the cloud, and in particular for our SaaS offerings, software as a service. And so we deploy on the cloud, and for us, cloud can be a mix of public cloud like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, or Azure. Can be also private cloud. We have customers which are hosting private cloud, and we can deploy it also on private cloud. And we have also resourcing on private data centers. So in that case, think about Equinix or CoreSite. So my team is responsible to really migrate compute and services from on-premises to the cloud when it makes sense. And we'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay. So the team is around 20 people right now, and it's mostly skilled about CI/CD, so continuous integration and deployment, DevOps, which is very important, and we are going to talk about it as well. Containerization, so we do a lot of containers these days, and of course, cloud technologies. So I have people specialized in deploying on AWS or on GCP, for instance. And two good examples of that is two public SaaS that we have been putting to the market the last couple of years. One is called Broadpeak.io, but you see that in my background, and we are going to explain a little bit what Broadpeak.io is. It is basically a solution to personalize and monetize video streams. And the second one is PeakView TV. And PeakView TV, I believe, is going to be super interesting for our partners from the Caribbean because it's an end-to-end video pipe service for American and Caribbean broadcasters and ISPs.
Excellent, excellent, very interesting. I mean, and tell me, when was the last time you, Mathias, have been to the Caribbean? We'd like to know a little bit more.
Yeah, so actually, we've been working on that project together a couple of years back, but I was actually in Nassau, in the Bahamas, not so long ago, to deploy the OTT solution for BTC Bahamas. And it was a great experience for me. It was my first time in the Bahamas, in Nassau. And it was good to work directly with the customer on the field and with some of the partners. And the project was very interesting. I learned a lot at that time. And actually, this experience helped me today to understand a bit better the challenges of our customers in the Bahamas. And now that I discuss with new prospects or new partners, that experience really helped me today.
Okay, very good. So let's start straight into our topic of today. And I will start with the first question that some operators, ISPs, are raising when they have to make a choice on the best option to start an OTT service. And they hesitate between an on-prem solution and a cloud-based platform. So tell me, Mathias, when would you vote for a cloud-based platform and why?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's actually, there is no easy answer for this. There's no magic recipe. But let's look at and let's consider a little bit the advantage and the drawbacks of running into the cloud, right? So if you look at the cloud, in particular for OTT platform, one thing to consider is actually you need to look at what kind of time to market you are looking for in terms of deploying your solution. If it's really urgent for you and you want to test the solution with some early customers, definitely the cloud is interesting, right? Because the speed of deployment is unparalleled, right? If you look at deploying on-prem and looking at deploying in the cloud, the time to market in the cloud, it's crucial, right? Like you can go ahead, you go to AWS, you go to GCP, you can turn on some new instances to install your software. So definitely time to market is a big advantage of the cloud, right? The second advantage of the cloud is, of course, the scalability. So if you envision having a lot of customers very quickly because you need to migrate in a very short period of time, scalability in the cloud is very interesting as well, right? The main advantage of the cloud is like the elasticity of the compute you can get from the providers such as AWS or GCP, right? So you can scale resources up or down based on the traffic. So it's definitely interesting because it adapts to the fluctuation of the number of users you may have on the platform, right? And finally, something also to consider is in terms of investment, right? We have a lot of customers looking at deploying OTT. They start on-prem and they look at like the overall investment is typically pretty CapEx oriented, right? You need to buy encoders, you need to buy different kind of stuff, packagers, like CMSs, and it's pretty heavy in terms of upfront investment. Of course, the cloud, because it's much more based on how much you consume, is going to be lower at first, right? But it's good to look at return on investment and see like after how many months you see what will be the shift in terms of investment between running on-prem and running in the cloud, right? So at the end of the day, first of all, let's look at what you need to do. And it's going to help you decide if you need to go in the cloud or if you need to go on-prem. But yet, is also not really a one-size-fits-all, okay? So if you look at, in particular, at the type of compute and services which need to be in the cloud, not everything makes sense. And in particular, we work with ISPs in the Caribbean regions. They have networks, they have data centers. So they have actually, like the capacity to host some services. And there's one coming to mind, which for me is very important to keep on-prem, which is the content delivery network. Because if you look at right now, AWS and GCP, typically you can run, compute and services from the infrastructure, but they typically also come with a CDN, okay? Giving you an example, AWS is coming with CloudFront. And if you run your infrastructure, it makes much more sense to actually do the CDN yourself for two main reasons. It's because if you do the CDN outside of your network, you are going to pay twice. You are going to pay the CDN, but also on top of that, you are going to pay the traffic coming to you, what we call, like the transit or the pairing, right? And also because, like the CDN is not really close to your own viewers, it's definitely better to do, the delivery directly from your network. So I always advise to all of my customers is like looking at the cloud is definitely good, but the CDN, it's a no-go. CDN needs to stay on-prem, right? It's really key to keep that on your infrastructure. Some other compute and services also, like I can put down a question mark. Giving you an example, we have a lot of customers, they do encoding and transcoding and packaging of linear channels. And actually, like they have a lot of other customers doing the same. Okay, so in that case, why not working on together on this and reduce our cost? Okay, so this can be done in the cloud, but much more like in the multi-tenant way, and we'll come back to that. Or it can be on-prem, it can be shared between different customers or different operators. So it's something also to keep in mind is like, it's not only about moving to the cloud, but also looking at, like doing efficiently some kind of compute, right? And so, for instance, it's a good way to introduce what we have been building with PeakView TV. PeakView TV solution, as I mentioned, is something that we have built in the cloud with a mix of, like private data centers and cloud. And it's actually providing an approach when our customers, they don't really need to, like run stuff in the cloud, but they can still leverage it. And actually, I'm going to share my screen, just if you give me a moment. Let's see if I can do it. Let me see if you see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So if you look at that, this is our website for PeakView TV, which is our video streaming service. And so PeakView TV, I'm going to show you, actually, it's always better to look at at the diagram. But PeakView TV, we have like three options. We have like fully on-prem solution, which fit very well with like big companies. We have people doing hybrid. So it's a mix between, like doing compute in the cloud and doing compute on-prem. And we have also a fully hosted version of PeakView TV, which is fully in the cloud. In every case, we keep the content delivery network, the delivery on-prem. So our customer operators, they keep that on-prem. But then after you have option, and that really depends of, the way that the business makes sense for you. To give you an example, hybrid solution is something that our customer likes very much, because hybrid solution is all about having, the most popular channel in the cloud, and it's something that we can share in terms of compute and processing with multiple customers. But we have also like local channel on-prem, and meaning that like we do the compute and the processing on local channel on-prem. So it's kind of hybrid, and we look at the best way to deploy for our customers based on their own interest. Okay. What is interesting with PeakView TV? PeakView TV is pretty much 400 linear channels, American and Caribbean channel, which are basically pre-packaged to be streamed in OTT for the viewers of our customers. Okay. So if you look at OTT right now, OTT is all about, you need to create a stream which is going to run on connected TV, on set-top boxes, on phones and tablet. And you need to do a lot of things for that. You need to encode the content, you need to package, and also typically you need to encrypt, and then you need to do the delivery. Well, because everyone distributes the same channel, why not putting that together in a multi-tenant way and give that access to the feeds to our customers? So that's what we do with PeakView TV, right? And I'll come back to that in a minute. So just to kind of summarize a little bit what we have been just discussed, but cloud or not cloud, typically what we see is our customers, they always have the choice between the two. Also, they have the choice also like to work with software as a service. And for me, it's definitely the best approach to dip your toes in the cloud water. Okay, cloud is actually not so easy to start from scratch. You need to learn a lot of skills to finally manage your own cloud instances. You need to know like what is containerization. You need to deal with the elasticity of the cloud, how to turn on and turn off instances. So the way that I recommend to our customers is like, well, if you want to start playing with the cloud, use SaaS, because SaaS are basically like cloud platform which are being run by vendors, and vendors put a lot of effort on making sure they can extract as much as possible the advantages of the cloud. Okay, so my point is like, you can run into the cloud, but maybe start with SaaS, with solution with PeakView TV, right? And one last thing I also like to give some food for thoughts to our customers in the region. I think one last advantage to consider in the Caribbean region with the cloud is the capacity also to do disaster recovery. Okay, the good thing about the cloud is like you can really turn on compute and service a little bit only when you need it, right? So let's imagine you put together a solution OTT for your viewers, and you have a problem with your infrastructure during like a hurricane or during a very big event like that, then you can use the cloud as a disaster recovery. And I think for our customer in the Caribbean region, it's definitely a good option.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you very much. It's very clear, and I'm sure the audience is appreciating as well. But when an ISP decides to move to the cloud, one concern is often that there is the addition of multiple costs that will sum up related to the cloud infrastructure, the connectivity, the setup, the activation of multiple features, all of those being part of the so-called monthly fee. So the question to you, Mathias, is how could you optimize this cost when you are an operator, knowing that some of your competitors can benefit from economies of scale? Some are acting at the worldwide level and can benefit from economies of scale in order to afford offering a very attractive subscription service to their viewers. So how can we optimize cost in that case, cloud cost?
Yeah, it's definitely a strategic exercise to optimize the cloud cost, and it's actually not so easy, and you need to put a lot of effort into it. So that's the reason actually, I was talking about multi-tenant. If you start in the cloud, I always recommend to choose a cloud service which operates on a multi-tenant architecture. Okay, multi-tenant is great because it means that like you share the compute with other customers, which is going at the end of the day to reduce the cost structure, right? It's typically cost effective, right? And we see also a lot of cloud services like that, SaaS, multi-tenant, which can also have a pay-per-user model. Okay, so it's not only about the consumption of compute and processing, but it's about paying based on your own business model, right? So you can have a cost based on the number of users you have, and you can then after generate revenue based on the number of users as well, right? Which make expense very predictable, and you make it scale based on the size of your audience, right? So looking at working in the cloud with multi-tenant platform, which can fit your business model is key, right? It's actually very crucial to be competitive in the market, because as you mentioned, sometimes your competitors are big companies such as Netflix, Disney, all of these big guys, which can leverage economy of scale. So if you can do it as well, you should, right? I think if you don't go that way, and if you want to deploy by yourself in the cloud, it's pretty brave, but I think it's also like pretty bold, and I really appreciate our customers doing that. We can help them there, but it's all about making sure that your cloud resources are managed well, right? It's not just about moving to the cloud, but you need to make sure that you smartly manage your cloud resources, okay? And in that industry, there's a keyword which is called FinOps, financial optimization. It's actually, in my team, is a big part of our work is to make sure that like every day we optimize the cost of our cloud structure, right? Just to give you an example, a couple of months ago, we changed the database of one of our service. We reduced, from $1,000 each month the cost of our database to $100. Okay, for exactly the same performances, right? But we had to look and like just making sure to like the migration was fine, and so we had to put like some work into that, right? And so FinOps, financial optimization, is really a keyword to think about. And again, because you need to put a lot of effort in it, I recommend to work with like cloud SaaS platform which can do that for you, right? And for me, that's really the best way, at least to start, because you can get into the cloud, you can understand how the cloud is working, but you let that actually people, experts, making sure that like your cost structure is good at first.
Yeah, definitely. All right, that's clear. But tell us one thing. We among the key success factors we always hear about, the quality of experience, an appealing content are fundamental. We know that. But we often listen to operators who expect, and especially the CXO level or financial directors, some degree of profitability on OTT. So Mathias, what would be in that case your recommendation to an ISP or a content provider starting OTT to secure some kinds of ROI out of their OTT service? That's key for many operators nowadays.
Yeah, ROI is very important. Of course, like you want to make money with your OTT service. It's not only about, like moving from broadcast to OTT because everyone is doing it. You want to see what could be your return on investment. And also what is challenging with that is if to make, like your OTT service profitable, you have one benchmark in the market, which is Netflix, right? Netflix has such a good quality. All of your viewers, they expect that quality when you provide an OTT service. So it's all about the ROI and profitability, why you give a good service to your customer. So at the end of the day, the profitability equation in OTT is all about managing costs while you maximize your revenue. And on top of that, you provide a good service to your viewers, right? So if you look at the cost side, for me, what is essential is to maintain a lean operation. Okay, and when I talk about lean operation, it's all about automating operation. And lately, you have a lot of methodology which can help you with that. We talk about DevOps. DevOps is a very, very good way to make sure that like you can be as agile as the competition like Netflix or Disney. Like you can actually propose new features very quickly to your viewers. We talk about CI/CD, which is a way also like to automate the release of new features to your viewers while you make sure the quality is still there with like automation of testing. And one factor of success for Netflix in terms of like cost management was to take care of their own delivery. And what we call the CDN, right? I talk about that already, but this is very, very important in terms of management of cost, okay? And so it's important to make sure that the content delivery network is efficient and that you can optimize the bandwidth usage, especially if you're an operator with your own infrastructure, your own network, right? So keep in mind that like this control of the cost pass through, like the control of your CDN and the capacity to automate, like the deployment of your platform. Right? So look at working with vendors which can fit that, which are like services based on API, because API help with CI/CD and DevOps. And also coming back to what I was saying before, maybe try to work with vendors which can fit the cost structure with your revenue structure, right? So in terms of profitability, if you can base your cost based on your revenue model, then it's great for you, right? Because you can just apply a margin on your cost and you will understand very, very easily how much money you are going to make per viewer, right? So look at that from your vendors, right? Now let's no more talk on cost. Let's talk about more exciting stuff, which is the revenue, right? If you look at the industry right now, in general, there were big changes actually 15 months. Okay, there's a big diversification of revenue for different actors in the market. In January 2023, Netflix and Disney, they created a new tier in the offering, which is sponsored by advertisement. Okay, and so it has been very successful. You know, since then they removed some of the tiers to the viewers because, you know, like the ad supporting model is doing so well that they actually can make more revenue with that than what they can do with like some level of subscription. Okay, and you know, like it's actually also very well received by the viewers because, of course, right now there's a lot of stress on the financial capacity of our viewers. There's this economic turndown, and people are looking for alternatives to reduce their own cost, right? And so if, you know, like if they are ready to, you know, like maybe pay a bit less and to have a little bit more advertisement, but in that context, in the current context, people are ready for that. So I say, you know, I always advise our customers to look at the diversification of the revenue. Don't put 100% of your eggs in the basket of subscription, but just put a touch of advertisement like Netflix and Disney is doing, right? It can open a lot of new revenue channel. And if you can balance, you know, like that subscriber growth with ad revenue, it's that a magic recipe, right? This is where you will get growth. This is where you will get profitability. And one last point, it's, you know, like in that context of, you know, looking at the best ROI, I think what is important also is like looking at data and analytics, okay, for yourself, but also the data from your viewers. Because if you can understand very well how your viewers behave, what do they like to watch, you can then, you know, like start targeting content and ads, okay? And this can actually significantly, we see that in terms of numbers all across the world, the engagement from your viewers with your service, and consequently the revenue, okay? And on that particular piece, I think ISPs and operators, they are in the best position to do that because look at the relationship they have with the subscribers, okay? Everyone needs the internet access, right? So there's very big trust between the internet subscribers and the ISPs. They give a lot of data, you know, like you give your address, you give your phone number, you give all of that. And so, you know, like operators, they're actually very well placed to understand viewers' preference and behaviors. And so consequently, they can provide, you know, like personalized experience, very effective ad placement to drive, you know, like more revenue in terms of subscription, but also in terms of advertising.
Indeed, very important. I just want, as we are going on, I just want to remind our audience that they can keep their question for the Q&A session at the end of this conversation, as I'm sure some of them may have some questions, so please keep them in mind. Mathias, you just mentioned the ad insertion topic as a possible source of revenue. So if I'm an ISP in the Caribbean or a content provider, and I want to start inserting ads to my OTT service, based on your experience, what would be then the concrete steps I have to follow? I don't know, for live, for VOD, whatever, in order to start inserting ads in my OTT, in the OTT channels on the OTT service.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Actually, I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm not too annoying with that. But a couple of months ago, I actually wrote with one of my colleagues an ebook. I mean, like a white paper to help operators and broadcasters to add, you know, like advertising revenue on top of the subscriber-based model, right? And so I think it's, yeah, page 28. I'm going to show you that. But on that white paper, we put, you know, together a concrete playbook on how you can, you know, put together a solution to monetize your streams, right? And so there's basically 6 steps that you need to follow. it's pretty straightforward. The first thing you need to do is you need to look after and choose what kind of monetization strategy you need to put in place. Okay, if you look at Netflix, they put a new tier, which is still, you know, like costly, but very, very low in terms of cost. There's other services which provide actually a free ad tier. So you need to look at what kind of monetization strategy. Okay. Then after, you need to look at what kind of stack, you know, technological stack you want to put together in your OTT service. You need to choose, you know, like what kind of ad servers you are going to work with, the SSAI or like the video stitching. You know, like video stitching is actually the capacity to put ads in video streams, and people can do that client side or server side, and I always recommend to do that server side. You need to understand also how you are going to sell what we call the inventory. Inventory is actually the capacity to put ads in your service. And so there's basically two options right now. One option is to do direct sales. So, you know, some of our customers, they already have access to advertisers, can be advertisers in the Bahamas, for instance. And so you can directly sell your inventory to these advertisers. Or lately, which has been very, very popular, is the capacity to do programmatic sale. And programmatic is the capacity to actually put your inventory in auction. And so advertisers, they are going to bet to get access to your inventory and your viewers. Okay, so it's a kind of a way, you know, like to accelerate revenue. Then after, you need to look at content preparation, of course, looking at, you know, making sure the integration between the ad server, what we call the server-side ad insertion, the players, the CMSs are working well together. Then you need to look at the expense of the ads. Do you want your customer to skip the ad sometimes? Do you want to let them wait like 1 to 3 seconds, like the way that YouTube is doing? So you need to think about that. And then after, you need to run your operation, you know, just to make sure that like customers and viewers, you know, like they are not too disturbed by the ads and they're still engaged. Advertisers are happy with the data you share with them, and you continue to what we do, like fill your filling rate. Filling rate is actually the percentage of the inventory that you sell to advertisers, and you want that to be as close as possible at 100%, right? So that's a different step to put in to put together. And actually, Broadpeak, we help multiple partners and customers with that. Okay, so if you look at, you don't really know where to start, you need to look at, you know, what your audience will be comfortable with in terms of advertisement. We can help you with that. As actually, we like to you know, bring partnership together with our great partners of the Caribbean to put that together. So I would say that would be the approach I would recommend to our customers.
Okay, so it's a nice 6-step approach. I hope everybody understood, and maybe some have taken notes.
Actually, the white paper, it's available for download for free, of course, you know, like on our website, Broadpeak.io or Broadpeak TV. And so, yeah, I encourage everyone interested by that to take a look, but because we detail really each step of the methodology.
Excellent, excellent. It's true that this is a fairly new area for many operators and broadcasters in the region. And so that's why some will wonder, isn't SSAI, I mean, you mentioned segment server-side ad insertion, isn't it difficult to implement? A lot of background, we hear about rights management, we hear about technology hurdles, dependencies, integration. I mean, that can sound a little bit too technical for many of our operators, or maybe costly or difficult. What do you think, and how can you, I mean, reassure our dear customers about this?
So you're right. You know, when we talk about monetization, the first thing you need to think about is you need to stitch advertisement in your feed, right? And the way that people are doing it is they use a technology called SSAI, server-side ad insertion. Okay, and even if we don't talk about SSAI in general, there's challenging around selling ads, right? So you need to sell your inventory, and that can be challenging. So SSAI is really the basement, really like the foundation of a good service. And so you don't want to mess with that. So, you know, like what's key with SSAI is you need to make sure that like it's integrate well with your service. It can gather, you know, like data coming from the viewers, because that's the way that like you are going to maximize monetization of your service, right? And if you look at the different options for SSAI right now, you have people, they provide you a software that you need to operate, you need to install. And the problem with that is like, it's actually not very easy to scale this because SSAI and insertion of ad is really related to the traffic you are going to have, right? So you need to scale up and scale down based on the traffic. I think there's modern solution lately for SSAI, which are way more flexible for that, and also which are focusing on simplify the process of putting ads in the video feeds. Okay, so we talk about Broadpeak.io. Broadpeak.io is one example of that. There's other example, of course, in the market, but Broadpeak.io is all about that. It's a SaaS, which is offering, you know, a streamlined, user-friendly platform to put together a solution to insert ads and replace ads in your feed. Okay. As a matter of fact, if you go to Broadpeak.io today and if you sign up, you'll see that like in 3 clicks, you can put ads in your streams. No more than that, right? And for a lot of other solutions, you need to install a software, you need to fine tune it, you need to connect with, you know, like multiple integration. It's that definitely complicated. But so I always recommend to my customers is like look at SaaS platform for SSAI and to insert ads. Okay, Broadpeak.io is one example. It's other example, but you know, look at this kind of solution, right?
You mean that it's a kind of pre-integrated platform already, right?
Pre-integrated platform. It's definitely a platform which is input-output, meaning that like you get access Broadpeak.io to the feeds, and on the output of Broadpeak.io, you will have a feed with ads. So it is no more than that. And it integrates very, very well with CDN, especially with local CDN on-prem. So it's a way that you can definitely very quickly try to put ad in your feed, and you can see if you can be successful with it. Okay, you don't have to make a project of multiple years. It's definitely.
And anybody can access this platform, right? Anybody can subscribe to Broadpeak.io, right?
Yeah, good point. Broadpeak.io is actually, you can sign up today, and for 30 days you have a trial to test it out.
All right.
And of course, we are there to help you if you have any hurdle or if you have like any challenges with the integration. But everything, you know, pricing is public. You know, like we have also like what we call a knowledge center, which is giving a lot of information to our customers in terms of, you know, how to do the insertion of ads or how to replace ads. So
perfect.
I will say that go for this kind of solution.
So we understand at this point that ad insertion, targeted ad insertion, better said, can be a way to monetize the OTT service. But my question is, are there new ways, because we hear about ad insertion, targeted ad insertion for some years already, are there new ways to improve the monetization of your OTT service on top of targeted ad insertion?
So it's actually a very good point. And one thing that OTT brought to the broadcast industry, in particular the connected TV, is actually the capacity to interact with the viewers. Because of course, originally with broadcast, you were broadcasting, you know, like some channels to the viewer, that was one way, right? Now what you can do actually with connected TV in particular, you can interact with the viewers, okay? And actually we put together a new solution that I'm going to show you, where you can actually let the viewers using the remote to get access to the product advertised in the advertisement. I'm going to illustrate that. Let me share my screen again. Sorry, I'm sharing with a bit annoyed that I'm sharing my screen a lot. Right, here we go. So let's imagine you are on TV, right? And you start watching a live stream and you have like ads coming your way, right? That. So you have a first ad, it's all about Nike, and then the second ad from Nike. But as you can see, at the bottom of the screen, there's that banner when viewers can interact with. And actually, you can use your remote and you say like, well, I'm interested by that product from Nike. Please send me a notification on my phone or where I can buy that product. So I can, for example, like send a message to Mathias, myself. I use the remote and I can click on OK. And then on my phone, right there, I receive a notification. I can click on the notification. I can show you. And then, so I don't know, I'm not sure you will see my screen, but basically I receive a notification with the URL. And if I click on it, I get access to the product and I can buy it. Okay. So this opened a lot new world for actually the video service providers. Because now, in the past, people were advertising on TV to reach an audience, right? And that was the way you were buying, advertisement on TV. But now with this kind of technology, it means like people, they can not only buy an audience, but they can buy clicks. You can buy actually, clicks from viewers. You can even buy revenue. And that's actually a business model which is actually working very, very well in the web industry. But the way that Google and Meta are doing business right now, meaning that like when you buy advertisement on Google and Facebook, you don't buy based on the number of impressions or to reach an audience. You buy based on the number of clicks you are going to get from Google and from Facebook, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
that kind of model is great because if you can put that on TV now, it means that like you can open a lot of new horizons in terms of revenue on TV as well. That model, which is working very, very well on the web, you can put that also on broadcast, and that's a way also like to increase revenue.
It's a very nice demo. I mean, I'm sure many people will appreciate that. Time is flying fast, so we have to speed up a little bit. I also just wanted to mention that on top of targeted ad insertion, or as you show, interactive ads, another way to monetize is to personalize the content itself, not only the ads, but also the content itself. Maybe you can say a quick word on this.
It's a trend we have been seeing expand the last couple of months, and in particular with the arrival of new linear channel in the business. We have no time, but let's talk about fast channel. A channel monetized by advertisement. And so now with the technology like Broadpeak.io, you have the capacity to create a lot of new content on the fly, and you can personalize that per viewer. Okay, so we have actually a demo, and encourage you like to reach out to see that demo, or maybe to come see us at NAB. But we have a demo when we can create personal virtual channel per viewer. So Arnault, imagine you connect to a video service, and you have like CNN, ESPN, and also you have like my Arnault channel, right? And if you click on it, well, you have a channel created on the fly with all the different things that you like, and you don't really need to look for them. It's something created for you. Okay, it's all about giving the right content to the right user at the right time.
Okay.
So
very good.
We've been seeing that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So coming back to the regional specifics, what are, according to you, the challenges and opportunities of offering OTT service in regions with limited internet infrastructure, such as certain regions or certain areas in the Caribbean?
Yeah. So yeah, of course, like sometimes you have like limited internet infrastructure in the region. So what's good with OTT is you can use technology like adaptive bitrate. And adaptive bitrate is a way, like to really adapt the quality based on the availability of the bandwidth. So OTT is actually great for that. But you need, again, to make sure that you can use technology such as, local CDN. So you can keep the quality good, even though if, like the internet is not great. And you have also an opportunity to use what we call low bandwidth optimized streaming format. And we are actually Broadpeak. We are famous for a technology called multicast ABR, which is a capacity to use OTT but in multicast, which is something they, like broadcasters and operators are used to deal with multicast, and multicast is great because you have low bandwidth. Okay. So if you can mix OTT with the same concept of broadcast, this is great for you. So I would say at the end of the day, like if you're in the region, look at doing adaptive bitrate, look at after, like deploying your own local CDN, and search a little bit, like multicast ABR, and see if it can be a good fit for you. Okay. What I believe is like right now, OTT is still at the beginning in the region. And so the first movers can really establish a strong foothold, especially if they do that right in terms of quality to reach the benchmark of Netflix.
Yeah, fantastic. This sounds very encouraging, and I'm excited to see how this will develop in the future. So as a conclusion, we are coming to an end of this conversation, but what would be your vision for the future of OTT platforms, particularly in the Caribbean regions? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely promising because, what OTT bring to the table and which can be a good fit in the Caribbean is like as I mentioned, internet access is not really a problem anymore. You can adapt to the constraint of bandwidth. And also what's great about OTT is like a lot of people can actually create their own content. Okay, we see a lot of brands lately, they've been, creating linear channel. And so, like there's a way to engage with local communities, local advertisers, local producers to definitely create content which can reach the quality of a Netflix or the typical broadcaster. So this is actually, like very, very exciting for me. And at the end of the day, like with the increase of the CTV, connected TV penetration, having a good OTT service, it's really a way like to stand in your position in the main screen. So, at the end of the day, Netflix, Disney, all of these guys, Amazon Prime, they are competitors. They are not as local as you. So you definitely has a very, very good, place to play in the OTT market. And so I encourage everyone, like to look at what's available in the market. Look at solutions like PickView TV, which can help you, like to deliver content very quickly. Look at solutions like Broadpeak.io to monetize your content also, like like in a very, very short time frame, and see if you can make that profitable.
Okay, very interesting, and the time has come to conclude this enriching conversation about how to monetize cloud-based OTT platforms. Before we conclude, we may have some time for question and answers, and maybe we will open the mics now to allow our audience to raise some questions that we will be glad to answer if there are any.
So I have a question.
Okay.
How important is audience engagement? And can you give us some effective ways in enhancing audience engagement on video platforms?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Teresa, is actually one of the biggest challenge our customers are facing. If you look at audience engagement, right now, your operators and broadcasters, they compete with that. They compete with phones, because even yourself, I assume, like sometimes you watch TV and at the same time you check your phone. If you have teenagers, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok. And so there's definitely, as of today, a competition in terms of attention. Okay, so everyone competes for the attention of everyone. So the engagement of audience comes up with the personalization of the content you put on screen. Okay, the reason Instagram and TikTok are so popular right now is like when you look at Instagram or TikTok, they push content that you like and you are coming back to them, right? So what we were talking about before in terms of like the personalization of advertisement, the personalization of the content is definitely key. And actually, we've seen numbers. I can share with the audience after the interview, but basically we have numbers when we see like if you can personalize content, people will come back more to your service. People will stay more to the service. They will watch for a longer time. And so the engagement of the audience is definitely key. is what everyone needs to fight for, right? And this comes with like a pristine quality, capacity to adapt to the bandwidth of everyone, and to make sure that the delivery has been done locally.
Great, thank you.
Any other question?
Any other questions for Arnault and Mathias?
I have a question. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I was wondering, how important is the audience engagement in maximizing revenue from like video streams? And I guess this is the other part of the question. What are some of the effective ways that you think we could use to enhance viewer engagement?
Yeah, it's actually a very good and very important question. You know, originally, the way we were putting ads on TV, again, was to reach an audience, right? But you know, as an advertiser, it was much more like to promote your brand more than anything else, right? You really never knew if like audience were going to engage with your brand, right? And so what I showed before, which was that demo with interactive ads, it's a way to reverse that. Now TV can be a way for advertisers to connect and to engage with the viewers, right? So the way I see it is like, this is definitely a key topic for the next coming months. And actually, if you look at YouTube, Disney, Netflix, everyone is going to that right now, okay? The capacity to interact with viewers during advertisement. And so that level of engagement, if you start looking at good numbers in terms of clicks, in terms of revenue to your OTT service, will prove to advertisers that actually people are watching your content, they are engaged, and so you will actually attract more advertisers and you will make more revenue. So this is actually a very, very key part of the entire ecosystem. If you have the capacity to show advertisers that people are watching, they are committed to
that you're getting viewership. Gotcha. Okay,
Yes.
makes sense.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Of course.
Any more questions? We only have Mathias and Arnault for a few more minutes, so I urge you all to make use of the time with them.
I think we are done, Teresa.
On behalf of CANTO, I want to thank the both of you for spending time with us this morning and for sharing on this very, very important topic. This is something we at CANTO are grappling with, and we'll come back to you for some more guidance on it. Just to let you all know that Arnault and Mathias will be at the National Broadband Association Conference in Las Vegas from the 14th to the 17th of April. And at that event, you will get an opportunity to see the demos of what they have been speaking on here. So please get in touch with them if you are in that neck of the woods, and share your questions and continue the discussions there. All is left for me to say now is thank you so much for staying with us. Our next CANTO conversation will discuss information security and business continuity management. And that will be held on the 25th of April. So register early and join us for a lively discussion on how you can secure your company's data and ensure continuity of your business. Also, remember to register for our annual conference and trade exhibition, scheduled for the 7th to 10th of July at the JW Marriott Turnberry. Don't miss this superb opportunity to see cutting-edge technology, to dialogue with experts, and to network with stakeholders to grow your businesses. So on behalf of the entire Secretariat team and myself, thank you for joining us, and see you at the next time. Take some time to enjoy the long Easter vacation, and see you back on the 25th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very appreciated. Have a nice weekend. See you soon.